Welcome to level 2. Here we're converting a percent into a fraction. And here we have 212.5%. This is one of the more difficult type of questions. Alright, so what I'm going to do is to convert this into a percent, to convert this into a fraction, is I'm going to, here I'm just in the PowerPoint here, I'm just going to convert it into a decimal. Okay, to convert to a decimal, a percent to a decimal, is I'm going to divide it by 100, okay, and remove the decimal, the percent symbol. Okay, so when you divide by 100, you're moving the decimal place twice to the left. So I have 2.125. Okay, so this is as a decimal, and I want to convert my decimal to a fraction. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm really just going to read this out. This is 2 and 125 hundredths, thousandths. Okay, so what you read is the number before the decimal place. That becomes your whole number. Okay, your whole number is your whole number. So 2 and, okay, which is addition. So to the decimal point you read kind of as and the 125 is going to be your numerator, and your denominator is going to be whatever the last decimal place is. Okay, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, so 2 and 125 thousandths. Now I just have to reduce. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom. This ends in 25. Anything that ends in double zeros, 25, 50, or 75 is divisible by 25. So I'm dividing the top and bottom by 25, and that's going to give me 5 over 40. Okay, which are both divisible by 5. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 5, and that's going to give me 1/8. All right, 2 and 1/8. There's another way of doing it. I'm not a big fan of this way, but I'm going to show it to you because it's out there. I'm going to write whenever you have a percent, just write it over 100, right, and remove the percent symbol. So I'm going to write my 212.5 over 100. Now to get rid of this 0.5, to get rid of the decimal point, I'm going to multiply by 10. So I'm going to multiply the bottom by 10. So I get 2,125 over 1,000. And once again, just divide the top and bottom by 25. Because the top and bottom are divisible by 25. This doesn't work for all fractions, of course. And I notice that the top and bottom are still divisible by 5, so I divide the top and bottom by 5, and that gives me 17 over 8. 8 goes into 17 twice with 1 left over, and once again we get 2 and 1/8. Okay, so back to the program. So 2 and 1/8, and press enter. There we go. Okay, 10% to a fraction. All right, so I'm going to write this as a decimal, right? So 10%. To convert a percent to a decimal, just divide by 100 or move the decimal place two decimal places to the left. So I'm going to get 0.1. Okay, you don't need to write 0.10. Okay, you just drop the 0, so 0.1, and that's 1/10. Okay, 1, and then the last decimal place is tenth, so 1/10. The other way is you can just say 10% is 10 per 100, and then reduce. Okay, I divided the top and bottom by 10, so I have 1/10. Either way, 1/10. Okay, so there's no whole number. Numerator is 1, denominator is 10, and then enter. Okay, 12.5%. So I'm going to write 12.5% is 0.125, right, which is 125 thousandths. Let's just do that in PowerPoint. All right, so here's our 125%. I'm going to write it as a decimal, so I'm going to move the decimal place two steps to the left, or divide by 100, and that gives you 0.125, which is 125 thousandths. Okay, the last decimal place is thousandths. So 125 thousandths, and then reduce by dividing the top and bottom by 25. In this case, because it ends in 25, the top ends in 25 and the bottom ends in 00. So that means 25 goes into both. So we end up with 5/40ths, both of which are divisible by 5. So divide the top and bottom by 5, and we get 1/8. All right, so back into the handy dandy program. So 1/8, and that's it. All right, so that's it for level 2. Have a good day.